Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Welcome back to triangles. This is part 2 of our module triangles. So previously we spoke of angles and their properties. Now we're going to speak of triangles and their properties. The important thing is to notice the type of triangles. So when we say type of triangles, we also need to look at their properties. So this can be in one thing. So triangles and angles can be given in one diagram, and you need to use the properties to identify the given figure and be able to answer thereafter. So let's dig in. Right. The first type of triangle that we look at is an equilateral triangle. What is an equilateral triangle? All right. The properties of this triangle says that all sides are equal and all angles are also equal. So in other words, when we look at these given lines, they are not just dashes there. They are telling us that this line AB is the same as line BC is the same as line AC. And also angle C is the same as angle A is the same as angle B. So that is an equilateral triangle. Another triangle that we speak about is an isosceles triangle. When we speak of an isosceles triangle, we're speaking of an angle, of a triangle rather, that has got two lines equal to one another and two angles or two base angles equal. So if you look at that as well with those lines, the axis, the corners, it says angle A is the same as angle B, then line AC is the same as line BC. Okay, now the next triangle that we speak about is an acute angled triangle. So how can we relate this from the previous knowledge that we had in part 1 regarding angles? We said an acute angle is that angle which is less than 90 degrees, isn't it? So when you look at this, we are saying, all right, we can say this is an acute angled triangle to the property that says the angles must be less than 90 degrees. So if we look at all of these angles here, even though I didn't name them in this instant, the angles must be less than 90 degrees. That is an acute angle. The next triangle that we speak of is an obtuse angled triangle. Remember previously as well we spoke of this type of angle. Now it's coming back in the form of a triangle. Looking at that, or the figure in front of us, we are saying obtuse angled triangle. Look at that. It is greater than 90 degrees, right? But less than 180 degrees. But now it is a triangle in this case. That's why we say it's an obtuse angled triangle. Same properties as an obtuse angle. Again, we come back to a right angled triangle. Why do we say it's a right angle? It gives us perpendicularity. You can see that there is 90 degrees, but in this case, it is closed. That's why we say right angled triangle. So initially it was just a right angle, not a triangle. Now it's a triangle. So it's a right angled triangle, gives us 90 degrees perpendicularity. Right. In this case, we're speaking of a scalene triangle. So when we speak of a scalene, we're actually saying that if we look at the sides of this triangle, they differ. They're not the same. They differ. So the first side is not the same as the second side, and it's not the same as the third side. So is regarded as a scalene triangle because the sides are different from one another. Right. With the knowledge that we've just gathered regarding angles and triangles, while we're still speaking of triangles, there's another thing that we usually use, another reason that we usually use in triangles to say the sum of the interior angles of a triangle equals to 180. So what are we talking about? Let's look at that. If we actually, let's draw our triangle right here. It's not going to be perfect. Please bear with my drawing like that. All right. So how do we do that? If we take this, we take that, and you take that, you cut them from that side. So if we cut them, in that case, we end up having something that looks like this. The triangle at the top that's been cut, another triangle at the bottom that's been cut, and another triangle that's been cut. So we all this, let's start with this one and name it 1, and name this one 2, and we name this one number 3. So why do we say the sum of those angles will be equals to 180? If you take this first one, we are assembling it right now to say, all right, here we go. Remember, you'll have drawn it to a perfect degree. We put that one there. Okay, the second one, we draw it again. There we go. Automatically, the third part, if you look at that, if it's inverted, now adding all those 3 together, they give us 180 degree, meaning straight angle. Hence, we always say addition of the interior of a triangle will be equals to 180 degrees. Okay, now we use this to find the value of the missing angle. So in other words, you might be asked to calculate a certain angle, whether it's inside or outside or wherever that may be. You might at some point need this reason in particular, in order for you to continue to other reasons, or vice versa. Okay. And there's also an exterior angle of a triangle. When you speak of an exterior angle, so in this case, if we look at this portion here, it's outside of a triangle. So it's an exterior angle of a triangle. So we're saying, all right, combine an angle together with a triangle. So what do we say about that? We say the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the 2 opposite interior angles. So when we speak of interior opposite angles, we're speaking of 2 and 3 in that regard. So when you add these 2 angles, angle C, angle A, they must give us angle B1, because we might even say this is angle B2 if you want to. At the same time, when we look at B1 and B2, when you add those 2 together, they give us 180, and we spoke of such angles previously. We said they were supplementary, isn't it? Okay, so we will go into this and look at examples, and you'll be able to understand what is going on. So with that being said, I believe it is clear to everyone. Like I said, angle 1 in this case will be the same as 2 added to 3. Exterior angle, which is 1, equals to the 2 opposite interior angles, 2 and 3. Well, ladies and gents, that is the end of our part 2 in this first session. Remember, I said I'm going to break this into subsections. So the first subsection, it was about angles and triangles, and that's where we're going to stop. So you need to complete assessment activity 7.1 on your book. And again, we also need to complete the following assessment, which is assessment activity 7.2 on page 108. So complete these two activities. Afterwards, just post your answers in where, and then we will look at that. If there's something that you don't understand, we can always go back, look at the video, or we communicate by other means. Thank you so much. I believe that this has been very appealing for you guys, and hopefully even the next lesson that we're going to talk about in the very same module, but now this is the second subsection, will be beneficial to you. I thank you. Enjoy.